All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. But she be down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How y'all doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. I'm about to give you some edurnation. Absolute edurnation. I learned some things yesterday when I had a live video with question and answers with Mike Cariff. And before you go and switch it off just because you don't like the name, shame on you, because I'm about to share some very deep information that a majority of people don't know. And I'm also going to give you a little backstory behind it. So if you would entertain me, please follow along and then follow the video right to the very end so you can see the point of this video. Because what I like to do is share information. Every single NALC member had issues with Brian Renfro when he was going through his situations, and everybody had issues with the getting expelled and charges being brought up against him. And for some reason, they keep going through this whole thing again, and they seem like they cannot get this gentleman out. And it's not us. It's the executive board. Now, I learned a lot yesterday because he said the people on the executive board didn't vote him out. So even though it was our will, we wanted him out, speaking as us in a whole, we couldn't get him out. And here's the thing. I'm going to give you some information about it. Then I'm going to give you some examples behind it. And then I'm going to give you a bonus reason why running in a slate isn't always the best thing, because it's the thing that burns everybody the most in the end. The executive board's role in disciplinary cases, such as Ryan Renfro. The NALC board serves as the judicial body when charges are brought against national officers, including the president, for misconduct, ethic violations, and failing in their duties. Under the NALC Constitution, Article 10, Section 6, the board acts as a trial body, meaning they vote on whether to expel, suspend, or acquit an accused officer. So again, all of this, I listened to Unconscious Thoughts yesterday, right? And I didn't understand everything he was talking about, but that's because I wasn't educated. And now I'm going to try to break that down for you so you can get it, because I need to know, and you need to know. You need to know too. So Mike Cariff's criticism, he claims the board almost never votes to impeach or expel President Renfro. How do we know that? Because Renfro's still there. Corey said it, he's still there. Because majority of the political allies of the sitting administration, everybody that's sitting up there, a majority of them are his allies. He suggested at least 14 out of those members, including national business agents and national officers, consistently side with Brian Renfro, making it nearly impossible to hold him accountable. If you want him to negotiate your next contract, then click away right now. But if you don't, pay attention. This creates a lack of real checks and balances. The same leadership faction controls both the presidency and the board that's supposed to oversee it. Cariff says presidential candidates should not run with a slate. In the NALC elections, presidential candidates also run with a slate. Now, I've had a couple slates on here, which is a pre-selected team of allies, the VP, the treasurer, the trustees, etc., who campaign together. Pretty much, those are my homies. We're going to run together. I think we're going to click. His argument was there is no independent oversight. If a president is elected alongside a loyalist VP, secretary, treasurer, and supportive national business agents, then nobody in power is willing to challenge the president, even if they act improperly. Sound familiar? The board becomes a rubber stamp since many executive board members, like NBAs, are aligned with the president's slate. They won't vote against him in disciplinary cases. How do we know that? Because this is what's happening now. For the last few years, how many charges were brought up against Renfro? And how many passed? It weakens the democracy. You're voiceless now. Think about that. No matter how much we sit here and bark, you're voiceless. And here's some real life examples. He faced multiple internal charges: retaliation against critics, misuse of union funds, violating NALC bylaws, and the board repeatedly dismissed or downplayed those charges. Carrier says this is only possible because the executive board is stacked with Renfro supporters. Now, he didn't directly say that. Let me be clear. But now there's charges going against the whole board because they didn't do due diligence. They just wrote him a letter explaining why instead of watch the live. He explained this very clear. Now, the people that support Renfro were elected as part of his leadership team. They were already part of it. If officers were elected independently, not as a slate or a block, there might be more dissent and accountability. No friends. Everybody's checked and balanced each other. So he didn't necessarily say that a president should run alone or not with a slate, but to prevent one party rule structure, because that's what you have right now. Just think about all the things you heard. Renfro unilaterally negotiating for everything for you guys. And here's one example. In 2023, there was a retaliation charge against Renfro. NALC Branch 6000 in Washington, D.C. filed charges against Renfro, accusing him of retaliating against union critics by removing them from committees or denying them resources. Specifically, Renfro allegedly punished local leaders who opposed his administration policies by stripping them of union privileges. How the executive board responded: the board, dominated by Renfro allies, dismissed the charges, claiming there was no evidence of retaliation. Critics argued that the same people who owed their positions to Renfro's leadership team slate were judging his conduct to a clear conflict of interest. Those are the same people he came up with. It's a conflict of interest. Follow me. Why this matters. If you guys want a slate like CLC, just remember how loyalists come together to protect the person sitting at the top instead of holding people accountable. When the same group that got elected together controls both the presidency and the trial board, don't expect fairness. Here's your second example. In 2019, there was an expense scandal by Frederick Rolando's administration. The former NALC president, Frederick Rolando, faced allegations of misusing union funds, including extensive travel expenses and questionable reimbursements. An internal audit raised red flags, but the executive board, stacked with Rolando allies, refused to take action. How the board responded: the board voted overwhelmingly to dismiss the charges, with only a few dissenting voices. Many of those who protected Rolando later became part of Renfro's leadership team slate, showing how the same power structure persists. The problem isn't necessarily Renfro. It's about any president whose allies control the board. If you think a new slate being up there, that things will change, ask yourself, will the board really hold the person sitting up top accountable. The problem, the executive board doesn't function as a check on power. Right now, it's acting as if it's a shield for the president sitting in that place up there. Y'all are having issues trying to get that man out before he takes unilaterally every step to negotiate your next contract. It's because when a president runs with a slate, they effectively control who judges them, basically. So even though your locals say, man, we want this guy out, we bringing charges, your locals have no power. None. The same thing could happen with any slate, regardless of whether or not it's the CLC. And I like the people that are in the CLC. I get along verbally with each of them. Well, the two that I've spoken to. I really like Henry, and shit, Corey Walton is, bro, I drink a beer with him any day. I don't drink beer, but anyway. Now, it's not to put a fear tactic behind anybody, but it's to bring awareness. Y'all dealt with this twice so far. What happens if there's dissension amongst the ranks, or the next president doesn't do something you like? Who is going to check the next president? When the members think for themselves versus name familiarity, you will think about what works for you. Independent leaders who aren't tied to a single faction, who think for themselves, who show that they are there for you, that they don't need a group in order to win. You feel like I'm talking about one specific person? No. I'm talking to every one of you to make sure that you realize that the whole concept, when people are screaming this in the comments, this person's gonna win. If this person is by themselves, would you elect this person by themselves? Think about that. One person is gonna run your whole show. Who's gonna check that one person? Or are you electing the group, hoping the group brings change to what you guys want? Because if the person sitting up top doesn't, who's going to check that person sitting up top? Think about it. It is nothing to sit there and mince. And this is for every single union at the United States Postal Service. For too long, the members have been shafted. And the new members, the new people, and we're talking about people that are almost 75% of the people that are there. Not the measly 25% that like the way things are. I'm not saying you don't matter, but you really don't. You're not going to be here much longer. You just want things to try to stay the same so that you can ride things out, versus the people that want change, that want some reality, that want better wages. You don't get bothered 25% because you're sitting good, you're looking good, you're living good, you're smelling good. That's a selfish thought process. Everybody should sit good. Everybody should think good. We have a very old mentality where we're like, well, I worked my ass off to get where I'm at. You did, but somebody that's been here, let's be realistic, somebody that's been here 12 years, all right? 12 years versus somebody that's been here for 15 years. There's a difference in pay. Who worked harder? It's not too much of a difference as far as the years, but who worked harder? There's a big difference in pay, though. Everybody should be equal. And if you don't agree with that, then you're probably sitting at the top. Think about that, man. Think about that. Are you really for fairness? All the way around the board, who's going to be your best choice? The next time I have a video or the next time I do a live and I have Henry on, because I'm hoping Henry's gonna reach out to me and say, hey man, let's chop it up with them. I want y'all to do the same thing. I want y'all to get your real questions together and chop it up with Henry. And make yourself an educated decision with the two top people. Okay, there may be more coming down the pipe, but for now, make yourselves educated decisions on visual one-on-ones, not because of groups. Talk to Henry, not because he has Corey. Talk to Cariff, not because, he's from Chicago. Be independent in your thought process and see who you want up top. Who's going to be there for you? Who's going to fight for you? I believe each of them have similar goals. I just think each of them have different ways to get there. That's my opinion. What the hell do I know? But I did give you some facts behind this executive council. How do you get rid of the executive council? I already told you. It's time for change. Change the culture. Hopefully this information was good for somebody. Some people understood the process behind it. Some people are getting a wake-up call. When Conscious spoke about that thing yesterday, I think he put that video out. It had me ask those questions. I had to find out about that executive board. Why are people's hands tied? Why are the worker bees? Why are your hands tied? And Cariff explained it. It's the people sitting up top that's holding y'all back. It's time for y'all to change the culture. This is JH, and I'm out.